Welcome to this video for the restoration of an eminent organ. If you are here probably looking to this video is because you already know what this organ is. This is the EMINENT 310, the unique. But to whom that doesn't know the origin of this organ, this was the organ used by Jean-Michel Jarre in his recordings for Oxygen and Equinox. It's basically known due to its beautiful string machine, and it was made in 1972, from 1972 on, in Holland by the EMINENT company. This model, this unit behind me, is an organ that I found in Italy, and I paid 250 euros for it. It's not too much for this model. Actually, the organ was not in a good shape, so I shipped my organ from Italy to Spain, and this video is to share with you what I'm doing to restore this organ, what I found that is interesting to share with you, and I think that this could help to the community or to other owners of an eminent organ to keep this beauty instrument alive for long and long years. I think that in this video we will talk about many common problems of the organ, so capacitors replacement, cleaning, this is very important in this organ, and other parts that get broken, usually I mean for example the sliders, faders of the organ, and maybe interesting information about calibration of some of the components or circuitry inside the organ. And for this we will show you some videos about what we are going to do and how can we help you to maintain your organ. I'm not a technician of electronics, so my skills are limited, but I think that this is something that everyone can understand, and with the correct tools you can maintain your organ quite good. I think one of the main problems I found when I received the organ obviously was to ship it from Italy to Spain. That actually cost more than the amount I paid for the organ. The main problems are related to cleaning of the organ, related to the key contacts or the stop contacts, and they get oxidized, and so you get problems of clacking notes or notes that are working or not working. So it needs a lot of cleaning. First off, start with electronic, changing components, capacitors, etc. And this is the first thing that I think that is important to do, because it's the only way to really understand what is working and what is not working actually. So for the keypad of the organ, this uses a particular system that is based on bus bars with springs, that when you push a key you close the contacts, many contacts actually, and these are controlling the different sounds that the organ can make. So one of the most important things is to clean this part of the organ. Unfortunately, it's not easy due to the you need to dismount many parts, maybe the solder, some parts, and then applies. You need to remove, to clean with in a quite delicate way, because it's these contacts are have some treatment on the metal, so you cannot use abrasive paper or something like that. You need to do it carefully. Second, continuing about the cleaning of the organ, I think that it's also important to clean the contacts for the stops that are responsible of the selection of the sounds of the organ. And these are metal cable, I don't know what should be the right way to describe it, but this also get oxidized, and this is doing bad contact, so you can feel that something is not working, but actually if you clean these contacts, probably the organ is working well. Cleaning also the volume pedal is a quite easy task. You need only to remove in the front panel of the pedal, below the swivel pedal, there is a screw, so you can remove all the module, and then you can access to the lamp, to the bulb lamp. So basically you only need to check that the lamp is working actually, and probably remove some dust on the sensor, because it's a photoelectric sensor resistance, and on the lamp. This is a simple lamp that you need only to clean. There is also an important, or at least I feel that it was quite interesting to check the correct tune of the master oscillators. The organ, the sound generation of the organ is based on 12 oscillators, one per each key, and divide the frequency circuitry that gives you the whole range of notes on the organ. To do this, you will need obviously an oscilloscope, but I found interesting at least to check if my oscillators were working correctly to the frequency that should be expected. Surprisingly, I found they were quite well tuned, so there was no need to do nothing else about only check that the frequency was correctly tuned. In any case, if you will find that your oscillator is out of tune, you need to take care. Obviously, you will need to use an oscilloscope, but also you will need a screwdriver, plastic made, because if you use a metal screwdriver, normal screwdriver, you could alter the circuitry characteristics. So it is necessary to use, as far as I understood, to use a plastic screwdriver. And obviously you can download from internet a table with relation of frequency to note to understand what is the correct frequency you need to tune. That seems to be a quite easy task, so only tool you need will be the oscilloscope. About recapping of the organ. This organ, as far as I understood, is about maybe 200 capacitors. So if your idea is to change 200 capacitors, this is a lot of work. And I think that there are two different opinions about how to do this kind of restoration. So it is the opinion that every time, or you want to restore a service, an organ like this that is probably more than 40 years, you want to change every capacitor in the organ. And this probably is okay, no problem at all, at least with electrolytic capacitors. But maybe it's effortless. So I mean, what I found is that I changed many capacitors related mainly for the power supply circuitry, only because I think that the best I can do is to have the correct voltage without with reducing eventually I think the name is ripple voltage due to the rectifier of this alternate voltage. Okay, so I decided to change the main capacitors, but actually when I measured the old ones, I found that they were okay, and probably I changed many capacitors in the organ, but the original ones were still working well. So it was only a question of maintenance that I would say maybe now is working, but probably in 2 years this will be necessary to do so. Since we are restoring the organ, I think that this could be done now. So you can find recapping of the capacitors, probably the power supplies, probably the main circuitry to restore the old ones, but also the orbiton amplifier, and also on the sustain trigger circuitry you can change to big capacitors, and this is okay. It's only a benefit to have fresh components. One of the things that I found in this organ is that when I open it, I see that someone in the past probably was repairing this organ. I see some potentiometers that were not the original ones, and unfortunately I only noticed it when I come to Spain, that some of the speakers, actually 3 of the 4 speakers, were not original. So this maybe we will talk about this later, but this is also quite important because these speakers have unusual impedance, so it's not easy to find a valid replacement, the same replacement, because the measurements of the impedance are not the usual ones you can find. So this was a surprise for me, and now I need to change it. Other thing that I found was defective is some resistors that are in the power supply. I think that they are working like voltage divisors. So by means of these resistors you can select different voltage on your organ. Probably someone can explain better than me, but these resistors made to dissipate some power. Some of them were probably born or were working, but actually you see that the surface was already in a bad condition. So this is something that is cost few euros, maybe less than €1, and you can put new components, and this is okay also. The keyboard, the dual manual keyboard, needs also to be restored, and this is due to the fact that the bushings that are these small guns, maybe you will see later, get with it after 40 years they get brittle, dry, so you need to change every bushing in the keyboards. Fortunately, this is a part that you can find easily. This used in many keyboards. I think also in the sequential circuits, for example, the Prophet 5 uses the same bushings in the keyboard. So I think this is quite easy to fix and relatively cheap. This needs also to be done. Also, I think in combination, in my case, my keyboard was quite dirty with a lot of dust. So I decided to fully dismount the keys and to wash them. And by doing this, I discovered also that bushings were defective, so I started to buy parts for a complete service of the keyboard. That I think is quite good to have a beautiful feeling of the keys when you play. You know? And probably while doing this, you will find that the metal support where you put the bushings, sometimes they are bended. So this means that probably one key can go down more than other key, or the keys are not perfectly leveled. So this is also good to adjust all these metal parts to have again the keys at the same level. So this is quite time consuming because you need to wash the keys. But I think it works. If your organ is in a good shape, maybe you don't need to do this. Mine was stored maybe more than 20 years, so it has a lot of dust, and I think that for a good restoration you need to do this. Then I found also that some problems were related to the sliders in this organ. They are at least 2 sliders, I think, that are 2 tracks. 2-track slider, and it's made by small contacts, contact points that are sliding on each track. And unfortunately, if these sliders are maybe move fast, or maybe you are trying to do something, it seems that they are quite delicate sliders. So one of the points, or the contact points, get broken. So I need to find a replacement, and this probably is not easy to find the same replacement. So we will see. At the moment, I will keep as it is, and I try to dismount and try to open it and to see if it is possible to mount back the parts. But at the moment, it works in the sense that I can make the organ sound, and this is not limiting the functioning of the organ. One of the things that I think is interesting, something to buy cleaning products before you start an organ is maybe you can find many products in the market, but some friend of mine said to me that Dioxide F5 is a good spray for faders, because maybe another kind of sprays can degrade the carbon tracks. So this is a product that is made specifically for this kind of sliders. So I bought it. It cost more than 25 euros, I think, 25-30 euros. But I think that this is important to keep these faders still alive, because they are, as I say, it's hard to find a replacement. So we need to take care about this. And obviously I used also the CRC spray that is used to avoid humidity problems on the electrical boards, to improve the contact, electronic contact of the different switches. So you can use it without any problem in every switch in the organ, and also to clean the circuitry. One of the things that I found interesting in this organ is the orbiton, that is like it's a circuitry that is simulating, I think in some way, the behavior of a Leslie speaker, like in a Hammond organ. So it's doing like a chorus effect. So moreover, the organ, when you have the orbiton switch active, is moving the sound around the speakers and creating this kind of a three-dimensional sound spinning around. And it's important. I found in this unit that the regulation of this orbiton circuitry was not correct and was not working at all for the chorus and for the tremolo. So there are actually two oscillators in this orbiton control circuitry. One is I was quite fortunate that I found this information and that I would like to share with you. And this is as far as I understood, the original calibration of these two oscillators. So the tremolo should be calibrated at 7 Hz. The chorus must be calibrated at 0.7 Hz. So again, this is something that you need to do with an oscilloscope, and you can check in the main board for the orbiton modulator. You will find behind that the main board has printed some letters like C1, C2, C3, and T1, T2, T3. This stands for chorus C and tremolo T, and each part of this circuitry is doing something on the source of the oscillator. So the first part is a low pass filter, if I remember well. Then the second part is a phase shifter, and then a phase inverse, something like that. And then these signals are sent to the other modulators boards that are below this circuitry. And another important thing that I found that was not apparently well calibrated was 3 potentiometers that are on the orbiton amplifier. For the orbiton amplifier circuit, we have 3 transistors, 3 match transistors, and these transistors are, I think, controlling the amplified volume of the orbiton circuitry. So these potentiometers are also calibrated when the organ was made, and are, I know they were printed or something with wax. So you can you should not try to regulate it, but maybe someone did it in the past, and mine was probably not correctly calibrated. So what I found is also I was quite fortunate to have this information about a friend of mine that had this orbiton amplifier circuit dismounted from an organ, and he could dismount this potentiometer and measure the resistance. And if I remember correctly, this was calibrated at 0.55 mega ohms. So if you find that in your organ these potentiometers were some way changed, or maybe someone tried to have more volume from the organ, maybe you want to keep the original values, you can take this potentiometer, desolder, because if you do not desolder, maybe your measurement probably will be wrong. So you have to desolder this potentiometer, then to regulate it to the correct value, and then to mount back on the organ. And you have to do it for each of these 3 potentiometers. So I think that at the moment I covered mostly the what we already did on the organ, and probably this activities, this restoring video will continue with mounting back all the parts, and maybe showing you a video of how does it sounds. I want to add that the sound of the organ, or the beauty of this organ, that for me is what I bought it, is the string machine. I know that there are good virtual instruments emulation of the organ, like the Solina string, or hardware emulation that is maybe Waldorf, Strifat, and other string machines simulations. But I think that to have the real sound, you need to go to the real organ at the end. It's true that the stimulations of Solina instruments that are recently made by Arturia, if I remember correctly, they sound quite good. But I had the opportunity to buy this one, and I paid 250 euros. That is not too much, and I think it's worth to try to restore it and to have this sound, this Jean-Michel Jarre sound. You need also to buy or to combine the sound of the organ through the small stone face pedal from Electro-Harmonix, and in combination with if I remember correctly, a delay that gives you this surrounding sound, spacing sound of the oxygen strings, and that's what at the end of this servicing, that's why I'm expecting to be able to recreate and to have in my studio to have some fun with friends, trying to sound the music we like. That is obviously Jean-Michel Jarre Oxygen. So that's I think hope this video will be some way helpful for some of you. I think that there are not so much videos about servicing an eminent organ, and this is why we wanted to take this opportunity to share with you, with no other intention to share what we know, what we are trying to do, and maybe it's useful for you, maybe not, but I think that this could be in some way helpful for someone in some years, in the next years, or if this is your first time with an eminent, maybe you can have some information, useful information from this video. Thank you.